Welcome back to another edition of Hockey on 216, proudly driven by Hyundai. Bridget, great to be back with you in the studio. Unfortunately, a few of our colleagues on the show, Manny, Crinison, people are traveling around the country, so unfortunately not joining us. So it's you and me again this week, hosting the show. Bridget, you've been an incredible couple of weeks of SASOC Nationals. I mean, isn't it just incredible, these wonderful events that SASOC gets to put on around the country, with the Under-16 tournament finishing up this weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. Under-16 finishing on Sunday. And, I mean, if you think about it, we had the Under-12 regionals that took place across the country at various places. We then had the Under-13 nationals that took place in Johannesburg, and that spread to Cares, Parktown Boys, St. John's, Rodine, and Jeppe. So, you know, them all hosting, but the main pitch being Cares, where we were last week in the cold.
Under-14s.
For the
Under-14. Cold, wasn't it? I was
Yeah.
very pleased for my Under Armour puffer. Let me tell you, it was freezing.
Yeah,
out there.
it really was. And then, as you say, then we went straight from Under-13 into the Under-14 tournament, also hosted at those four schools again. Again, 16 teams across boys and girls, both in Under-13 and Under-14. And then you go to the Under-16s. A section, B section, you're looking at a large volume of players yet again travelling down to the hosts.
Midlands.
Yeah, Hilton,
There's such great reports. I don't know what you've heard, but I've spoken to a lot of parents and coaches and people. It just sounds like between sort of St. Anne's, Hilton College, Maritzburg College, they put on an incredible show, and it was just wonderful for those kids to be there, for the parents, for everyone else. I think there were some really icy mornings.
Yeah,
a little bit of mist here and there. That we had to deal with, but just incredible tournament. So maybe before we get to the results of the Under-16 tournament, Bridge, let's just wrap up what sort of took place. I mean, starting with the Under-12s, not too much, obviously regional, but I think there was one or two standout things that happened in that Under-12
little Dale Jackson, the headmaster of Jeppe, moving on to St. John's. His son clinched the win for his team for Eastern Gauteng, which is
amazing for Easterns to go and win regionals. Absolutely. Isn't that wonderful?
And he got player of the tournament. So clearly running in the blood there with the Jackson genes.
Yeah, absolutely. His uncle Craig Jackson was probably one of the greatest players ever to play for South Africa. So, we'll be watching his future with interest as he probably goes into his last year at primary school. The Under-13 tournament, another really good tournament that took place there. Yeah,
Under-13 tournament, we found that there you got actually wins for Western Province on both the boys and the girls. Mm-hmm. So, taking the trophy back home to Western Province for both of them.
Again,
yes.
Another RPT.
Exactly. So, but having said that, you found Eastern Province doing incredibly well, making the final for the Under-13 boys. And
Fantastic.
We're seeing this trend.
Eastern Province really had some good results across these tournaments, and we'll talk a bit more about those as we go into some of the age groups. So some
standouts there was Coastals came third with Benji Russell, who we fondly know Shelley Russell in the hockey fraternity. That's her nephew. So young
of course,
Benji.
Brent Russell, he was a relatively decent rugby player in his time.
So Benji getting top goal scorer.
I'd like to see Benji. I mean, she was probably one of the quickest women ever to play for South Africa. I mean, she was just incredibly quick. And Brent was obviously an electric athlete in the time before, smallish rugby players were a thing. He was a thing.
Yeah.
So he'll be certainly one to watch, because there's no doubt he's an athlete. And I've seen he's a bit handy on the rugby side as well. I think he's a DPHS boy. I saw him on a recent tour to the Cape. Playing a bit of rugby with Butch James' son. So wonderful to see.
Yeah, absolutely. So he must have helped Coastals come into third place, with Southern scraping in fourth, and then Boland fifth, and then Northern sixth. So we can carry on all the way down, but it's a nice format. They actually play a full round robin with all 16 provinces playing. So you go right down to Northern Free State and Northern Cape, who end up playing these top sides. At this level you can.
It's really good.
Which is really
13,
nice.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It is wonderful.
Yeah.
The Under-14 weeks, we were at the finals last week, and another, in the girls there, the Easterns were in that final as well. So some really good results at the junior age groups for Eastern Gauteng.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, across into the girls' week, Catherine Morris, who coached the KZN Coastals team, she'll be thrilled. She got the win there with a really solid side. But they were up against Eastern Gauteng. And we spoke to Sharman about this last week. It's interesting to see Eastern Gauteng doing so well in the junior age groups.
Absolutely.
But it gets tough, I think, as they get into the older age groups, just because a lot of players might move and things like that. And there's a lot of masters hockey, but there isn't that
sort of
and
high
16,
school.
high school age group.
But they'll be very pleased with that result. And obviously in the boys, it was a close run thing, but Western Province got up over Boland.
Yes.
Very impressive. That sort of was on while we were talking last week. So another one for Western Province at the under 14 age group.
Absolutely. And we found there, even though Nathan Phillips, who got top goal scorer with 8 goals, I mean, he had a great under 13 tournament last year, come into under 14 this year for Boland.
So that's his second Nationals in a row where he's the top goal scorer. So clearly a talent to watch out for in the future.
Absolutely. He was really good, but Western Province just super clinical in their penalty corners.
Yeah.
They had a youngster who could flick off the top, and definitely someone we're going to watch in the future.
They were well, and their structure was good. And I thought Boland were going to put up a better fight. It seemed to be at the start, but Western Province just took control. And you can certainly see a lot of indoor hockey skills in those young Western Province players. I think there's just a lot more indoor in that part of the world, and you see that coming through in so many elements, and something that we discussed a bit last week while we were watching.
No, definitely. I think if you're looking at the trend across the board, you're seeing that familiar sort of influence of a lot of hockey being played, both in the summer season into the winter season. So your skill levels just elevated straight away in the junior space. And then we're going to see a similar trend as we move over to the under-16s.
And obviously just, the under-18s were sort of finished. I mean, we spoke about it on last week's show, but just rounding out, Boland with winning with the girls, which was a really fine win, and they really played their better hockey towards the back end of the tournament. And then, I mean, that Western Province boys team were just unstoppable, weren't they? So winning that tournament. So that sort of led us into what was the final week of the Nationals, which obviously is... the under-16 tournament, which took place at Hilton and St. Anne's last week. And, maybe let's jump into the final winners, and then we can discuss some of what went on.
Yeah.
Starting with the girls, maybe, Bridge. The girls, KZN Coastal. So KZN Coastal's winning the under-14, coming the next week, winning the under-16 tournament as well. That bodes well for hockey down in KZN. Yeah,
I think that they've done a superb job. I think they've got some really talented players that they've nurtured from junior into the high school space is what you want to see. And the coach there, Josh Blair from Crawford Lelucia, clearly doing a really good job with her KZN Coastal side. They didn't lose a game.
Absolutely.
In every single game.
Really solid.
They were
and some
solid.
Standout players there. I think one particularly, Charlie Rose Boyle. We've seen a bit of her on 216 and on the Hockey Channel. Clearly a talent. Top goal scorer, I think, in the end through the tournament.
She was, and I mean, we'll talk to the fact that she got top goal scorer and her brother got top goal scorer at
in the under 16 boys tournament. Absolutely,
so,
young Luke.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
So Charlie from Fatima, Our Lady of Fatima. And their hockey program is just
It's been really good this year, hasn't it? So we'll be watching a lot more of her, and obviously with a very good side. She was there. They were 4-2 up against EP in the final, so pretty convincing win. But the EP team had a very solid outing. Couple of standout players on that EP side, particularly one, Lucy Holderness. We've spoken about Lucy and Abigail Holderness quite a bit this season. But by all accounts, Lucy had a fine tournament, and I'm just hearing wonderful things about the way she carries the ball and her distribution. She might not have that goal-scoring ability or score as many goals as her sister does, but that her carrying the ball and her distribution, she's going to be a superstar to watch in schools hockey over the next couple of years. Yeah,
I think DSG are very lucky that they still have that, Holderness sister coming through, and I'm sure they're going to be chuffed with that. But I think that EP side, coached by Ignatius Malfoy and Tony Marks, who are from that area, they know the space particularly well. They're both national players.
Yep.
They've got a lot of experience. So they offered that onto this junior side. And it's just great to see.
And a great tournament. So, well done to them and a really solid outing. Boland got up for third over Western Province. So, look, the rest of the country will be quite pleased that no Boland and no Western Province was in the final. So, wonderful for KZN Coastal Girls and,
Yeah.
and obviously EP, but Boland getting up over Western Province in the third and fourth playoff, which they'll be pretty pleased about. I would have thought Southern's coming seventh, Inland fifth, Northern sixth. All teams that'll probably be quite disappointed. They're all teams that like to see themselves in the semi-finals, but I guess that's tournament hockey. So
I mean, I might say something fairly controversial here, but we like to on this show a bit. But I've been a little bit disappointed with Southern Gauteng girls hockey in that for such a big feeder and so many talented schools, we should be seeing better results at this stage.
Yeah.
So definitely an opportunity for the province to grow and maybe look and start developing the players at a junior level a little bit more and build it through, or come up with a filter system or something that just allows for a bit more growth.
I mean, something maybe we'll dive into a bit about some of that. We've been talking a lot about what we're seeing in the Boland, and we'll dive into a bit deeper that. But coming towards the end of the segment, I think let's just get through it. Obviously the boys' side, CS Satanya, just a fantastic job with his Southerns under 16 boys. Manny and I were doing commentary on the Aitken final, and we realised just how many boys out of that St. Stithians and JP team and out of the Kes teams were under 16 boys and standout kids. And we called it then. We said, can't see any of the provinces, holding anything up to Southerns. 8-1 in the final.
I know.
8-1. They won the final over EP. That's just...
there they are celebrating,
quite something.
understandably.
And yeah, absolutely, boys. I mean, that's just something quite incredible. And interestingly, that was the biggest margin of victory that they had throughout the tournament. They won 7 straight games, I think it was, to get there. Just outstanding. 5 JP boys in that side with Sia. And maybe that's one of the things that we don't see in the girls is you've got a JP coach there with 5 key boys in key positions that just give you something to work around, a couple of key St. Stithians boys as well that probably just added some value to that had played together. And maybe that just helps, with a bit of continuity. But just an outstanding result, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, I think Sia said
them.
it. He said they just clicked in the final to another level, and it showed. I mean, it was an electric final.
Absolutely, just kept their best for the final. As you said, though, Luke Boyle from KZN Coastals, he's a Northwood boy, so our mates at Hyundai will be very pleased. He's that's I think KZN Hyundai, they sponsor Northwood there, so he's probably used to being driven around in that Hyundai Stereo. So Luke, with 12 goals and matching his sister's performance in top goal scorer at the tournament.
I think the parents would have had a tough time, I think, bouncing between Hilton and St. Anne's, but fortunately they can watch all of it on SuperSport Schools. So no doubt when there was an overlap, they could not miss any action.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, that's just incredible there. So, both be very pleased. And interestingly, then again...
Eastern Province.
Eastern Province, obviously in the final.
Yeah.
They had a really good tournament. I mean, I think Keenan Geldenhuys, the coach, and his boys, to lose 8-1 in the final, it's not great. But they had a fantastic tournament to get there, and just another great result for EP hockey.
Well, I'm just seeing this consistent trend all of a sudden. You go from under 18, where the girls had a great tournament, really well. Boys struggled slightly, but now we go into the under 16s, both playing in the final, the girls and the boys. Go to the under 13, go to the under 14. It's just
playing good hockey for EP, which
Province.
was as I say, I think a tough one to take in losing a final like that, but a great result. And then third and fourth playoff again, Boland versus Western Province. Boland getting up again over Western Province. So just such good news for Boland hockey, isn't it? And a convincing 3-1 win in the final. 5th and 6th, Coastal's beating Inland for 5th and 6th.
Yeah, the battle
again,
of
the
KZN.
KZN hockey in the boys' side, right from under 18, just haven't had their best year this year at hockey. But congratulations to those teams. These Southerns boys and really can be very pleased with their performance and see just what a wonderful coaching year he's had with JP and now with these Southerns boys. It's really turning into a stellar year for him as a coach. So we'll come back after the break, and we've got a bit of talking to do about the under 16 boys and girls squads that were selected and some of the players of the tournament. So we'll be back after the break talking specifically about the players. Welcome back to Hockey on 216, proudly driven by Hyundai. Bridget, as we were saying, we've come out of the under-16 tournament, just a wonderful tournament. I didn't, unfortunately, get to see as much of it as I would have liked, just busy working last week, and I spent the weekend in Kruger, so didn't always get to watch as much of it as possible, but, we'd love to sort of talk about some of these players and some of the performances.
Before we do, though, you did make mention that you drove probably the best game viewing vehicle ever.
I must say, we had the fortune this weekend of seeing the Big Five in one day, which is always, just a special thing to do. But we were up there as a sort of families with my brother. They had come up from there. They're from Ceres, and he hired a Hyundai Staria, and we were driving around it. And the most wonderful thing is a game viewing vehicle. It's got just the biggest windows. It feels like, and when you're in the Kruger, that's just the best thing. Everyone in every seat just has this amazing view. Plus, there was sort of 7 of us in the car, and all the things you want and pick, coffees, and it's got all the places for the car. It's just a great way to do Kruger. So, and really impressive, even in the sort of dirt roads, it handles itself. So, it was special. But anyway, that's we're getting off topic. Normally, we've been doing girls first lately, so let's go with boys first. On the under-16. 2 high-performance teams were selected from this, and obviously they'll be camping in October and playing an international series against Zimbabwe coming up soon, which we'll chat about. So Aaron Spiller and Maharaj Liam are the goalkeepers in that tournament. Don't know too much about either of them myself. As I say, one of the things that's quite tough in this space, some of these under-16s, they're either playing under-16 hockey, which we don't always get to see, or often playing first-team hockey, maybe not getting as much airtime or time on the Astro that we'd always like to see them. So it's always a difficult age group for us to sort of keep a finger on.
And interestingly enough, in Gauteng and some of the other provinces, depending, they have an under-15 age group for boys. So even then, you're going to get grade 9.
So it's always interesting to see who pops up here. So one that we have seen before, this Stefan Malan from Boerland, just a fine player from Pyrofalais. And I think when you think that he's made it into that A-side ahead of players like Jason Joyner and Ben Wilson, who've been so impressive for us this year. We'll talk more about them both being in the B-side. You just realise what a really good player and what a fine tournament he must have had.
I think, Bomber would have done a great job with him out of Pyrofalais, and that coaching influence just on that defensive play and everything.
We've just seen a lot coming out of there recently, haven't we? So, Jamie Koch from Boerland, Eben Pieters, KZ in Coastals, Jean-Andre van Zyl from Boerland, Kate Lottering from Southern Gauteng. I was really looking forward. I've heard so much about him. They decided this year that they thought he'd be better served playing the under-16 side of JP. Definitely good enough to be in that first-team outfit. An incredible flicker. There was a little chat at Aitken that in fact he might be the best flicker in the school. Obviously some of those matric boys who they got some superstars there at JP weren't too pleased to hear
I'm sure
that.
They wouldn't like that.
And he had a fantastic tournament. So obviously really one to watch, and he's obviously going to just step into that role at JP under Sia next year.
And a mature player, I also think that he offers a huge amount of depth and leadership, which you're going to see in this under 16 national side. It's going to be a challenging one because you've got such a variation of age group of boys.
15, 16-year-olds. Always a tough side. Spoon Krunu wouldn't be a good hockey side if it didn't have a Maritzburg College boy in it. So, I've been watching him come through the ranks at Maritzburg College over the last few years, and he's done well, and it's going to be really, I'm really happy for him, and obviously in his, in his home area. Callum Anderson, someone that we've seen in that Bishop side. Obviously, his father Murray does a lot of commentary for us, and actually did some commentary for us at the tournament. Was a fine hockey player in his day, but Callum's been a standout player for Bishops already this year. So there's an under-16 player that's actually been one of the main players in the team at Bishops this year. So we've seen a lot of him.
No,
we'll see a lot of him later in the year.
He's a real talent.
Luke Mason from Eastern Province, Khotso Letlwania. I mean, he's just he's just been a standout player for JP this year. I was commentating at Aitken. He scored, I think it was their 3rd goal. He just stuck the game away. 50, 60-meter run, just really something special.
He moves so well off the ball.
Yeah, he's got some. He's just got everything, and I think we're going to see a lot from him next year as he plays. Even gets into a more senior role at JP. But he's been outstanding. Eichen Lube from KZN Coastals, Blaine Candy from Southern Gauteng. And a striker with a real eye for goal and a bit. He just single-mindedly in terms of goal scoring ability. So
can I add something? I mean, he was 2nd top goal scorer, but what I'm loving seeing, and someone made mention of it on the under 18s, is this is becoming goal-scoring hockey. We're not seeing this traditional like 1-1 draw or like 0-0. All of a sudden, we're getting these strikers that are just ruthless in the circle, which is great to see.
And he's one of those, which is, as you say, really great to see. Luisa Mtletse, Western Province. Luke Boyle from KZN Coastals. We spoke a bit about his sister. He was the top goal scorer in the tournament, so a well-deserved selection there for the Northwood boy.
Definitely.
One of my favourite youngsters, Santiago Matrus from KZN Inland.
Yeah.
Lots of people might not know, but his father is a relatively talented international hockey player by the name of Julian Hikes. Santi's got his hands, so he's got a lot. He's only a grade 8 boy at Hilton, so we're going to see him in schoolboy hockey for the next 4 years out of Midlands. A wonderful talent, and
Butty, as we know him in the hockey fraternity, has definitely made an impact on his nephew here. And
it's not his nephew, it's his son.
Oh, it's his son. I'm sorry.
It's his son. So Santi's got all the genes that you're going to see, and just one of the great goal scorers from. So again, hopefully it's just going to be a goal scoring generation, as you say. Dante Elkington from Eastern Province. I think he's a grey boy, if I remember rightly. And Timilogo Mokhale from Jeppe. Such a mature defender for his age. Just played some wonderful hockey for Jeppe this year. So that's under 16A boys. In that under 16B side, Jabu Hussein, Southern Gauteng in goals. Ryan Besaidnout in goals from Boland. Lamani Makaleni from Western Province. Jason Joyner, I've been so impressed with his hockey this year. I've seen him play some magnificent games for Saints where he really just held everything together. The fact that he's only sitting in a B-side just tells you about the type of talent we've got, because he's also such a mature hockey player.
Absolutely.
Dante Moore, Western Province. Keegan Reeves, KZN Coastal. Sorry, Dante.
Yes, Dante, very talented player, also doing such great work out of the Western Province space. I think one of those players you're going to see coming through as he matures. He's going to get stronger and stronger. He's just one of those players I say it now, watch out. Yeah.
Calling that name, eh?
Yeah.
Ben Wilson, another one who's really had a fine season at Hilton College in the back 10. So again, you just realise Stefan Milan in that apparel fillet side, just how good he is that he's keeping out quality players like that.
Yeah, and I mean,
Jason Joyner and Ben.
Another one running
really
through the
mature.
genes.
Yeah, Sean Wilson's son, I don't think so. Zaid Mohaniel, we've heard so much about him. He's also only a grade 9 boy, so he's only 15 out of St Albans. He's almost been a superstar in that first team, and he's just such a youngster. Scored some wonderful goals.
Be thrilled with that selection.
Yeah, Moodles will be, so he'd be sad he's not here to tell us just again how good he is. Peter Abrams from Western Province, Rafi Matabi, Southern Gauteng, Caleb Saliers, Boland, Michael Meyering from Northern Gauteng, Anthony Crosley, another of the Hilton College cohort. Father Michael is actually a mate of mine, Mouse. He'll be very, very pleased with that. So Anthony, and again, he's won it. Hasn't played that much hockey for Hilton, but when he's got on the park, he's really done well this year. So it's nice to see that by not playing and getting enough hockey to show his skills.
I mean, one of the nice things of the selection process is that it's such a challenge for the selectors, but you can see that they've done their homework. They spend hours sitting there watching.
Absolutely.
And it's selection, again, we've made mention of it, but I'll do it again. It's selection at the tournament. It's not selection from school or from the season. It's how you're playing at the tournament.
These are very much tournament teams, and that was something that we were chatting last week. It was just made very clear to us that was very much the instruction, and we'll see it. I think there's a couple of the girls' selections where players we would have had no-brainers, and the A side are playing in the B side, one or two that aren't even there. So, absolutely. One that I'm really impressed with was this Matthew Jung, and I haven't seen a lot of him. We saw him a bit at the Aitken tournament for Trinity. He's just so impressive. He's explosive. There's really a lot to this youngster, properly talented, impressed us all incredibly. Obviously not in a very strong school hockey program, so not always playing in big finals and various stuff. So again, just kudos to the selectors that they saw that ability, and they make sure that he's part of a squad like this that's going to get together and obviously develop his hockey. Kamatoka, for the Kes boy, again, another one that I've been really impressed with. He sort of plays both left and right, outside striker. He's explosive, really electric player from Kes, so I'm very pleased with his selection. Caden Henderson from the Southern Free State, and Butle Kama, Western Province, and Butle Mfanel, where from Boland rounds out the teams. These teams, as I said, are getting together later in the year, in October, 9th to the 12th of October. But they'll also be playing in an international series against them coming up. So it'll be interesting to see how that takes them.
And onto your points, it's interesting to see if you go to the individual awards for these players. I mean, you've got most valuable goalkeeper, Spiller from Western Province, who's made the A side.
Yeah.
You know, Milan defender, A side from Boland. Your Southern Gauteng call out, you know, midfielder.
Yeah, that's right, both Southern Gauteng and player of the tournament.
Exactly.
And then Luke Boyle, striker, which is outstanding.
Yeah.
So well done to all of those boys. Moving on into the girls. Alicia Lowe, Eastern Province, and this is obviously the A side, the under 16 A side. B van den Berg from Western Province, Buntu Msweli, KZN Coastals, Charlie Rose Boyle, we've spoken about her, Fatima
top goal
girl,
scorer.
You know, KZN Coastals, and Fatima have had a really good year, and obviously plenty more to come from them. Player of the tournament, Chelsea Wolf from Durban Girls College, another one who's had a fine season, and rewarded with player of the tournament and under 16A selection from a Durban Girls College team that continues to play good hockey.
Yeah, I mean, I've got such a great mention here. It's, you know, playing in that position, it's about drawing plays, it's not about scoring goals. And she does that so well, which is mature hockey. It's very challenging to do because you always want to be in the limelight. But she's clearly been identified as a player that just does her job and does it well and then gets rewarded for it, which is awesome.
Absolutely. Emitle Mazomba from the Eastern Province, another Eastern Province kid that's getting in a bit of recognition, which is fantastic. Giovanna Abrams from Southern Gauteng, Heather Kane, Western Province, Iminati Runku from Eastern Province A. You've been quite impressed with her.
Yeah, she's a Kingswood girl. So I watched her at the K-Day Derby, and, you know, just a nice player, really talented. She's fast, she's got ability. So one to also watch out for as she goes up into that under-18 space.
Absolutely. Jamie Gall from Western Province. Joe Kirchhoff from Western Province as well. Carolee Besson from Boland A. Been quite impressed with her all year whenever we've seen her. So no surprises on her selection. Linique Vogel, Menlo.
She's a Menlo girl, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe Waterkloof. But I know one of those players that everyone in the northern space is watching. She's just so talented and is a really hard worker. So she's also one of those, you know, junior players that everyone is waiting to take the picking of in under 18.
Absolutely. So we'll be watching her very closely. Lucy Holderness from DSG. I mean, I think we've spoken a lot about the Holderness girls this year, but again, just one thing I'm just hearing, just what a good player she is, and you know, on the ball. So it'll be really good to see her next year.
Her old man actually was a hockey player himself and deputy head at DSG now, but he was at St. David's for a few years and headed up, you know, a bit of the hockey there. So definitely also running in the genes once again. We're seeing this trend of you know, family continues.
We'll be watching her progress closely next year. Reniwe Tsukudu from Southern Gauteng. Salmani Rose Oosthuizen, the Eastern Province goalkeeper. Had a really fantastic tournament. Zani Bussard from Boland. And Zianda Mtunu from Coastals. DGC
girl as well. Very talented player.
Really good goalkeeper.
Oh, sorry, St. Mary's Kloof.
St. Mary's Kloof.
St. Mary's Kloof.
You should.
Yes, I should have known that.
Be disappointed that you don't know. So that sort
that.
of rounds out that under 18A side, and I think we'd hope to get through all the teams in the segment, Bridget. But we'll have to come back after the break and deal with that under 16B side and some of what's to come for these players over the next couple of months in terms of the high performance program laid out by SASOC. So we'll be back after the break. Welcome back to Hockey on 216, proudly driven by Hyundai. Bridget, as we just finish off on those under 16B girls, I guess first up there, Alanda Rademacher, definitely a girl that we have been really blown away by this year. She scored some magnificent goals, and as you say, very much team or tournament selection.
Yeah.
She didn't score as many goals at this tournament as you would have liked, especially when you consider that Boland finished third and still got rewarded with selection in the under 16 B side for girls. So she'll still be there at the high performance camp on the 9th to the 12th.
Yeah, I mean, that's tournament hockey, isn't it? It's how you perform when you're there. Maybe she, had a tough tournament or just something didn't click this happens, but someone that I would have thought would have been a top goal scorer. So no doubt lots of hockey still for her.
She'll be back because she's played some magnificent hockey, and Gim have still got some really big hockey to come this year.
Absolutely.
So we'll no doubt see a bit more of her. Apelele Mbache from Northern Blues, Deborah Locke from KZN Inland, goalkeeper.
Yep.
Emily Quinton from Southern Gauteng A, Emily Simpkins from KZN Coastals A, Eva Miller from Boland A, Frankie Hen, Boland A. Blomhof.
She's a Blomhof girl. She captained the Boland side. I went to school with her mom, Zoe, who was a talented hockey player. So, yeah, she's a firecracker on the field. She does good work, does Frankie, and clearly taking again some of those family genes and running with it.
Good to see it. Lompo Ngwedi from Southern Gauteng A, Inati Ngobo from KZN Inland A, Jessie Baxter from Boland A, Jessica Pavard, Western Province, also a goalkeeper, Kiara Constable from Eastern Province A, Lisa de Villiers, Eastern Province A as well. So
yeah, two Pearson girls actually. So nice that they're getting that recognition. Pearson has had a great season.
They have had a good season and clearly some really good young players in that setup. Definitely.
So both players, I'm chuffed that they got the call up because EP done so well. And, stamping the authority there for the Pearson House.
Monique Gerber from Northern Blues and Sura Zawitsky from Northern Blues as well. I'll come back to one. Michaela Russell from KZN Coastals.
Yeah.
Another of the Russell clan.
Yeah, so Shelley's niece now, Durban Girls College girl. Clearly generations of hockey coming through yet again, Brent's daughter. And she really is a talent to watch. She's someone that you're going to see at St. Mary's Waverley next year. She had a few calls.
St. Mary's Waverley?
Yeah, as in not the school to come play.
I thought maybe her aunt had convinced her to make her way up to. So I was like, wow.
No, I don't think that's DGC will let her go too soon. But just someone that had played at a bit of first team games, under 16, and just a real. Again, firecracker on the field.
Next year as a 17-year-old, which is fantastic.
Definitely.
Hearing stories of brothers off to Hilton, which is good for that program. So.
Definitely, yeah.
Soraya Zawitsky from Northern Blues, Tegan Williamson, KZN Coastals, and Zoe Jacobs from Boland A. So that sort of rounds out those selections. And congratulations to all of those girls. It's wonderful for them to be recognised and to be part of this just wonderful high performance process that now gets into play. So we've spoken about the fact that all of these squads will be getting together, the girls at Paul Gim and the boys at Jeppe on the 9th to the 12th of October. That was always in the planning. The boys' team is coached by Dylan Phillips,
yes.
and the girls by Natalie Estevez. So some fine coaches there. One of the things that we have is they've put quite a big coaching staff to all of these high-performance squads so that there will be a lot of coaching, a lot of input, and also giving coaches a lot of opportunity at this level.
Absolutely. If I think of the under-16 coaches, full contingent of coaches, I think you've got Nika Kutson, you've got Ilza Davies, you've got...
girls, so that's just amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't remember who else directly, but they're almost something like 5 ex-national players in that setup. So and they no doubt will pull
wonderful experience for all of these players. But I think more importantly, or more excitedly, an international series has been announced by SASOC recently that all 4 of these teams will be participating in. Yeah,
so they're going to be playing Zimbabwe here in Johannesburg at St. David's over 4 days, so 4 games, under 16 A and B, boys and girls. Will be playing, which is so exciting, which is just really, really great. And an under-17 side. So that's girls under 17 girls.
And the reason is under 17 boys have been invited to Malaysia. So they're off there. But even more exciting news about what SASOC have decided to call this tournament.
Yeah, it's heartwarming. They're calling it the Alistair Fredericks Africa Challenge. And obviously,
great
people...
recognition for Alistair and everything he did for hockey in this country. So well done to SASOC on that. And we'll be covering, obviously, that on SuperSport Schools. That's the 12th to the 15th of August.
Yes.
And it's going to be played at St. David's here in Inanda. So that's really exciting. And it'll be really good to see, just some of this incredible talent showcased, and getting to play some international hockey.
No, it's so exciting for these players. they're going to remember this. You know, it's against Zimbabwe, our neighbours, and they play good hockey. They've got some great programs up there, so that's going to be really exciting to showcase that hockey and showcase African hockey.
Absolutely, just very good for African hockey. And maybe just to make sure I'm not sure that we covered it all, but those individual award winners on the girls was Salome Rose Oosthuizen for goalkeeper of the tournament from Eastern Province. Coralie Basson from Boland, defender of the tournament again. No surprises, Lucy Holderness in the midfield, just a superb talent. Obviously, most valuable striker we've spoken, Charlie Rose Boyle, just with the top goal scorer in the tournament. And then you spoke about the player of the tournament, Chelsea Wolfe. Always quite interesting that Chelsea getting player of the tournament, but not any one of the actual individual. We don't often see that in the award stuff. So clearly there were a few really close close ones here. And the selectors have decided to spread it out a little bit more than we ordinarily see.
Yeah, I think the midfield share there makes it quite challenging. You've got Lucy, who's a talent and scored great goals. And then you've got Chelsea, who's a serious talent in the midfield as well. So, giving both of them the recognition they need.
And that's well done. Well done to SASOC on that in terms of doing that. So, again, I think just perhaps, a shout out to SASOC and all of from their high performance to the events team. They've put on another wonderful series of events. Logistically not easy to do.
No.
You've got to have multiple AstroTurf sporting schools, getting the kids around, moving everyone around. So we thought the standard of umpiring this year was a step up as well, the way it was
100%.
managed.
Yeah, I think that they really made an emphasis on allowing young umpires to be mentored by older umpires, and also how that's influenced players and coaches' behaviour, and that whole safeguarding mentality, like of both the umpires and the officials and parents and players all getting on board with that, which is what you want to see in the sport code.
Absolutely, yeah. SASOC, well done. It was wonderful. And from SuperSport School side, we were obviously very pleased to bring you all of those games, either streamed or, all streamed, and many to Channel 216 and to our channel on SABC+. So well done to you and your production team in pulling that one off. It's always challenging, and there were some cold and icy mornings for some of those. I know a lot of de-icing that needed to take place, especially in sort of Hilton and St. Anne's.
Yeah, so we had to shuffle the schedule a little bit here and there, but I always get
a bit of mist. What would Hilton be without a bit of mist? As I say, the mist in Hilton. So
no, the SuperSport crowd always say to me, "Bridget, there's hockey on again." I said yes. So they know that I love hockey, and then it's always there. So
absolutely. Yeah. That's certainly not the end of it, though, for hockey in South African schools. And as we go into this part of the year, there's always seems to be a lot more girls hockey, perhaps than boys hockey. Two of our more favourite tournaments coming up in the next week. I know one that is very close to your heart in KZN, in the KZN Schoolgirls Hockey Challenge, the SPA tournament, or we sort of call it KZN SPA Girls. We're getting to the final stage. We've had all the regional events of what is just a magnificent tournament. And now we're getting to the finals next week, and they're being hosted
at St. Mary's
in Kloof.
Yes.
You getting down?
I'm going to try and get down there. I've missed it over the years, just with other priorities sneaking in from a work perspective. But it's one that has been running for 15 years. And Les,
you sure 15? 15, Bridge?
I know 15 because I remember the first time Les Galloway, who hosts it and started the idea with SPA. I was working at St. Mary's at the time, and she said, "Bridget, can we host it here?" So I was there from...
So it was the first one hosted at St. Mary's,
and they've carried on
the finals this year, which is
carried on for the last 15 years at St. Mary's as where all the girls from all the teams actually stay at the school.
For the weekend, and it's played over Saturday, Sunday,
and you're getting schools from all over, which is so exciting.
Have you got an indication of the schools that'll be there next weekend? So what's it, the 25th, 26th?
26th, 27th.
27th
so July. You've got St. Mary's Kloof. Fortunately, they made it through. St. Anne's coming down the hill. Morris Stella, who outplayed Durban Girls College, a sore point for them. Epworth, who won their region, which is very good for them. First year.
And we'll see the Schulzer sisters leading the charge there. And Catherine's last probably tournament as a schoolgirl.
And I think they're looking forward to it, which is awesome. The Newcastle Ferrum High School taking the win there, so they're going to be super excited at coming down again. Ashton's first year, Ashton College from Belito.
Really a school that's on the rise from a hockey perspective, and we'll see, I think, a lot more of them, especially in the girls' space in KZN in years to come.
Definitely. Felixton, coming from the Impangeni stretch and pushing through there, they knocked out Grantley, which is, also something.
Big win for them.
Big win for them, massive. Kingsway, so your neck of the woods.
Down there in Toti, yeah.
Yes. St. Patrick's, also new to the finals, so they're going to be super excited.
Out for them, fantastic.
And Wartburg, I forget how you pronounce it. It's Wartburg Kirchdorf, I think. I might be wrong, but...
Well, no doubt. For those parents who can't get through from Wartburg, they can get to the Wartburg Hof and sit and watch it on SuperSport Schools. Quite a bit of that's going to be broadcast on, obviously all on the app, but also to Channel 216.
So we have quite a bit of, other sports also taking part that weekend because all the schools are back from holidays now. So most of the games will be on Channel 216 later than they have been played. So it's great because then the girls can actually go watch themselves afterwards. So they won't be necessarily live on Channel 216 all the time, but it will be on
in and out.
In and out.
And just a shout out to SPA, who, they just continue to invest in women and girls sport in this country, don't they? And just do a fabulous job. And this is a tournament. The beauty of this tournament is it really gets to all sorts of areas and towns all over, not only in KZN, they run, this is obviously the KZN finals, but they run in other provinces as well. So a shout out to SPA and everything that they do for hockey, but also for girls and women's sport in South Africa. We'll be back after the break talking more about what's to come in hockey as the sort of season unfolds. We've got 5-6 weeks left of the year, so still quite a bit of exciting hockey to come, and we'll discuss a lot of that, what you can expect to see on Hockey on 216. We've got a few little things we want to try towards the end of the year and talk about that we're quite excited about. As well as obviously some of the last matches of the season, some big tournaments still to come, and we'll be chatting more about that after the break. Welcome back to Hockey on 216, proudly driven by Hyundai. Bridget, this wonderful ecosystem on SuperSport Schools, before we get into some of the sort of games that finish out the year, a lot of people know about the app, and I think it's just gone over 1.3 million people registered on the app now and using the app around the country, which is wonderful. But one of the things that we're really proud about and is doing so well is the newsletter, which comes out every second week. And I saw some numbers today. It's just gone through 955,000 people that subscribe to it, and just a cross-section of information the team just put together, put in some highlight videos, little things that are happening, what's coming up in the year. So just a shout out to that team and just what they've done. And for those that aren't registered for the newsletter, they should look to do so, because it really just comes into your inbox, comes in with what fixtures are going to be on 216, and you really get to see what's coming in schools hockey.
Absolutely. I mean,
well, not just hockey, but we care about hockey, but you care about everything at SuperSport.
No, definitely. I mean, I left school many years ago, unfortunately, but my mum, who was an educator, still reads that newsletter. She was not a passionate school sports follower, and she just loves it. She just said it's the biggest roundup of school sports.
And some wonderful sort of personal write-ups and profiles on kids and that. So really a wonderful one. And so go out and sign up and enjoy. Lots of good hockey still to come, as we said. Also starting next week, one of our favourite tournaments up here in Johannesburg, the Hull Pullen tournament. It's a tournament split into two sections of 36 teams. So an under 16 girls section and an under 18 girls section. So pretty similar to, I guess, what was Aitken Bowden. It's been around for many, many years. I think in 2006 it was started.
So Robbie Pullen confirmed this, but kicked off with Rob Pullen, who's been around and been influential in the girls hockey space.
Hockey player himself. He played for South Africa in his time. And
exactly. And then Rosie Howell, who's also been super influential in the female sports. So
played for South Africa, coached South Africa, was at St. Mary's for a very long time. So
nice
just a wonderful tournament. 36 teams play in each of those. So that's a big tournament. It originally started out as only Southerns. Joburg schools, effectively. They included Northerns, sort of about the last 10 years or so. So some really top girls' schools that are going to be participating. I think it starts on the 26th of July. It doesn't play right through. It's sort of Wednesday, Fridays. And the finals will be on the 2nd
of August. So, I mean, they go 26, 29, 31, and 2nd. And as you say, it's across multiple venues.
Yeah.
The logistics of it is also one of those where you need a spreadsheet for all the fixtures and the time, and it's going to be chaos.
Obviously, you can find it. I mean, details will be in the newsletter.
Oh,
and,
yes.
The fixtures, you can watch it all on the SuperSport Schools app, and bits and pieces you'll be on Channel 216, but that information will be in the newsletter.
It's all there. I mean, I chatted to Cindy Brown, who coaches St Mary's, and she's having to jump between finishing Pull and Hull, racing down to Cape Town to start senior IPT down there, to come back to Pull and Hull, to go back to IPT. So she's all over the place.
The life of Cindy Brown, eh? Yeah. You don't want Cindy Brown's life.
Yeah.
So that's something really interesting. Hockey, that'll take us in. But that weekend of the 2nd of August, we've also got the Pole Derby, which we're going to see at Friday Night Lights will be from the Pole Derby on the 2nd of August, or 1st of August, actually.
Yeah.
It's that weekend of the 2nd, but the Friday, the 1st of August. So Pole Derby, we'll be watching the Polchim girls in action against Pole girls.
You and I will be there commentating.
We will be there, making my debut at the Pole Derby. So for all of those of you in the Pole, I'm on my way down. Bridget's on her way down. We're really excited about getting to our first Pole Derby. It's going to be tight for me. My nephew, actually, Shane, he's not the most talented. He's a rugby player, lock of all things. So the poor kid has to play rugby on the Friday afternoon in that under-14A. So I've got to rush from that to that girls' final. But, you've got to support these rugby kids as well. They're not
the secondary sports.
Yeah, exactly.
Secondary
it's the
sports,
secondary stuff.
Yeah.
And then the next morning, Polchim boys, who've really had a fantastic season against a Pole boys team that have continued to get better and better as the year's gone along. So I'm really looking forward to that the next day.
And I think the fact that a lot of them come out of national weeks, you're going to take that experience and
absolutely
throw it forward.
The same Friday night, Sax, Pole Roos.
Yep.
Two of the best 3 teams in the country. I don't know how Jeppy's getting left out of this, because they certainly have shown just what they've got this year. But 2 of the best 3 teams in the country also playing each other that weekend.
Maybe we get them down for the Pole Derby as well, and so they can play them.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
The following weekend is the top 12s.
Yes.
So we got, which is very much the girls' tournament. So the top 12 girls are at Oranje. Again, really going to be. We've spoken about that, and picked on rankings. Got most of the top 12 teams in the country will be in Oranje. The under-16 girls will be at Polchim.
Yes.
Again, who put on just wonderful tournaments. And if anyone's going to outdo St Stithians' Easter offering from a hospitality tent, it might just be there at Polchim that weekend.
If the weather stays away, I think they might clinch it, Yeah,
they're pretty good at catering for the parents. It's definitely a tournament you want to get to. They sort of have started now next 12, so that 13 to 24. The under-18s are at
La Rochelle. So that one there, you're going to see those teams that are just missing out, that really were up there, but the ones that we teeter on that ranking system. So, they go across to La Rochelle.
At La Rochelle, and the under-16 girls are going to be at DSG in Makanda. So, there were a couple of fathers down at Lords with me watching the cricket last month, and they were all sort of on that, where they're going to be, but both Mr. Silcock and Mr. Snell will be touring Makanda, so good luck to all of you down there. They'll certainly be looking forward to that tournament and with that St Mary's under-16 team. The following week will be the Zimbabwe series that we've spoken about, so that'll be what sort of occupies Friday Night Lights, that sort of 15th, 16th weekend.
Absolutely.
From a hockey perspective.
Nice national hockey.
The following week, sort of getting to really the back end of the season, it seems that most of the hockey is pretty much stopped at that stage, but they still, down there in the Western Cape, they start early and they finish late, don't they? So we've got Sax versus Bishops on the 22nd, 23rd that weekend. We'll be looking forward to that one. And it'll be nice to see if Bishops can stand up to the Sax team, which have just been outstanding. So young Callum Anderson and them will certainly have a task on their hand taking on that very, very talented Sax team.
Definitely. I think that will be a nice one for Bishops to bounce back on.
And then our last weekend of hockey, which will be that sort of weekend of the 30th of August, is Bish Bosh, another massive encounter in the southern suburbs in the Western Cape, and Sax versus Wynberg. So that'll sort of round out the year for us as we see out Hyundai Friday Night Lights and the show. But the following week we're going to have a final show of Hockey on 216, and we're going to be doing a few awards. We're going to be doing a few awards, Bridget.
I know. I'm really excited about the prospect of these Hyundai Hockey Awards that Hyundai are kindly getting involved with. I think that this is going to be something new to the hockey circle, you know, looking at representation and for the people's choice, you know, giving us insight, telling us what you think on these various
absolutely.
awards.
You say the people's choice. The judging is definitely going to be done by the Hockey on 216 team. It's going to be, you know, our choice. But what we are looking for from the viewers is to, you know, hit us up on our social and digital media pages. We'll be putting out a call to action. You know, we'd like some nominees for coaches of the year, for defenders of the year, goalkeepers of the year, goal of the year. But we're also looking for things like Team of the Year, your favorite AstroTurf of the year. One that's very close to my heart is the Best Food Award. And, you know, I'm going to say it right now. If anyone beats the St. Stithians food offering from the Easter Festival, I'll be very surprised. It might just be Polcham. But I can't see if anyone, and they're going to have to go a long way towards proving it that there was a better food and beverage, you know, hospitality offering.
I can tell you now, I had 1 or 2 little bites at Maritzburg College, and it was
cheesarm.
It was a cheesarm, I must say.
Listen, famous down there for the cheesarm at Maritzburg College. I did hear the catering at
yes, it was very good.
At Maritzburg College was outstanding, so we did hear that. So we'll be call to action for those awards, and so that'll be broadcast on the 3rd of September. That'll be the final show of Hockey on 216 this year. And we'll be handing out the Hyundai Hockey Awards, which is really, some of them will be fun awards, some of them quite serious awards. It'll be really interesting to see what nominations come through, and we'll be debating that over the next month to see who those winners are of those inaugural Hockey on 216 Awards, proudly brought to you by Hyundai. So we'll be back next week, another wonderful week of hockey to look forward to, and we'll be talking all things schools hockey, youth hockey, again next week with you here on Hockey on 216. Bridget, thanks again for being
Great fun always. Love being here and love chatting hockey. Thanks, Carl.
And again, congratulations to all those under 16s on those selections, and all the very best of luck as you represent your country against Zimbabwe in the next couple of weeks. We'll be back next week.